In 2000, students bet on which words they'd remember. They picked the huge ones, and memory didn't care. The strange part, even told the truth, they kept making the same bet. That bet exposes the glitch this video's about. Your head has a gauge for learning, and it's wired to the wrong thing. Everything clicked. Then the exam asked, and it wasn't there? That was the gauge. There's a way to read the real number. Here's the experiment. Rhodes and Castel showed people a list of words to memorize, one word at a time. Some appeared small, 18-point type. Others filled the screen at 48-point. After each word, one question: how likely are you to remember this later? Psychologists call that a judgment of learning. It feels like knowledge. It's a forecast. And you know who wins this bet? The title told you. So bet on the margin instead. When the confidence and the memory split, how wide is the gap? Hold a number. The participants weren't subtle about it. Word after word, the 48-point type drew the higher predictions. Big words simply felt more memorable. Then came the actual memory test. No fonts on an answer sheet, just a blank page and whatever their brains had actually kept. Recall didn't budge. The big words came back at the same rate as the small ones. Font size had moved the prediction and left the memory untouched. They weren't careless. They were reading the same signal you read every day. So here's the obvious fix. Just tell people the truth. Surely knowing the trick breaks the trick. Rhodes and Castel tested exactly that. They told participants outright, font size has no effect on memory. The illusion survived. The big words still drew the confident bets. The information lost to the feeling. Sit with how strange that is. You know the fact. You'd pass a quiz on the fact. And the big word still feels like the safer bet. A feeling about your own memory stays wrong after being corrected with the truth. Whatever produces that feeling is not reading your memory. It's reading something else. Fair objection, it's one lab study. Wordless, short delays. And honestly, bigger type is easier to read. Shouldn't easier processing leave a deeper trace, at least a little? It's been tested to death. In 2022, a meta-analysis pooled 93 experiments on those predictions and a companion pool on memory itself. Font size moves the prediction. Effect size, 0.38. It moves actual memory by 0.05, not zero, real, and roughly 8 times smaller than the confidence it buys. So the honest sentence isn't, font size does nothing, it's this. The feeling points at something real, then wildly overshoots it. Whatever number you bet on that margin, it's probably wider. The illusion was never the feeling. The illusion is the gap. And once you see the gap, you see it everywhere, because font size is the least of it. Anything that makes processing feel smooth can inflate the prediction without touching the memory. So, which of your study rituals is lying to you the most? This family of errors has a name: illusions of competence. Coryat and Bjork documented them at the moment of study. With the answer sitting in front of you, you cannot feel what it will be like to need it later and not have it. Start with the most popular study method on earth: rereading. The second pass through a chapter feels better than the first. Faster, smoother, familiar. The needle climbs with every pass. And students trust that climb. Surveyed on their habits, 84% said they study by rereading notes or textbook. The most trusted method in studying runs entirely on the gauge you just watched fail. Highlighting works the same way, and it scales to the person teaching you. A fluent lecture, a cleanly edited explainer video, this one included, slides through your mind like silk. The ease belongs to the presentation. Your gauge bills it to your memory. You've already watched this gauge fail. Roediger and Karpik, the study from the last video. Students predicted their own recall 1 week ahead. Repeated study raised their confidence and delivered the lower score. Reread passages came back at 42%. Practice-tested ones, 56. But buried in that same study is the detail that explains the whole illusion. Test everyone 5 minutes after studying instead, and rereading wins. 81% to 75. In that moment, the confident feeling was correct. It just stopped being correct as the week wore on. Fonts, rereading, highlighting, lectures. Why does one feeling misfire the same way everywhere? What is it actually measuring? Your brain has no direct readout of memory strength, so it substitutes a proxy, processing fluency, how easily information flows through your mind right now. And the trap is that in the moment, the signal is honest. Big type genuinely is easier to read. A reread chapter genuinely is easier to process. So where is the error? Not in the reading, in the timestamp. Your brain takes a true measurement of the present and files it as a forecast of the future. Ease now, stamped as memory later. That's the whole trap in one sentence. That's why the warning didn't work. It reached their beliefs, but the gauge behaves less like a belief and more like a perception. You can know two lines are exactly the same length and still see one as longer. Which means you can't fix this with awareness. You'll agree with every word of this video, and tonight a smooth reread will still feel like progress. The fix isn't feeling differently, it's measuring differently. So in practice, stop asking the gauge at the worst possible moment. Do I know this? Asked while the book is open and everything is flowing, will always come back yes. Of course it does. You're reading the answer. Ask behavior instead. Close the book. Blank page. Write out what's actually in there. Whatever comes out is a measurement. Whatever doesn't is a better one. You just found the gap before the exam did. And recalibrate what effort means. That drag when you force a memory out, on the fluency gauge, it reads as failure. The last video showed the opposite. The strain of retrieval is what strengthens the trace. So when a session felt effortless, log that as missing data, not as success. That's the fluency trap. The dashboard only ever shows the ease of now. Nobody shows the second number. What's left after the week. So one rule, never grade your studying by how it felt. The big words were easy to read. They were never easier to remember. Next, 10 study techniques, ranked by the evidence. The two winners feel like losing while you're doing them. And the crowd favorite, you've already met. That's the next video. Before you go, take the reading. One question, what does your gauge actually measure? Ease. It measures ease, right now, never memory. Remember, hard by design.